it's a slice, it's measured. If it is food, it's measured. Sometimes food is locked in the refrigerator. At times. So all those funny stories.
Yeah, that's one thing that maybe the current generation really doesn't understand, especially for millennials and people in the Gen Xs. Like when we get something, we want to go back home. It gets blessed. You get a new car, let me go back home for prayers. A new job promotion, let me go back home for prayers. But I think for the millennials, especially who grew up in the village, it's ingrained in us. My people, welcome to another episode of the Power Narrative Podcast. And today we have Rodgers Abong'o. Rodgers Abong'o is the Executive Director of the KCA University Foundation, which supports university students with scholarships and support through their education. He's also the chair of Kuza Initiative East Africa, and he's also the founding secretary of He's the founding Secretary General of Kenya University Deans of Students Association. Rodgers, karibu sana show.
Thank you, Dr.
Yes,
Zippi.
Welcome to the show. Here we just want you to inspire us because your journey is one inspiring story. Yes, tell us, where did all this start? Because it's like you've been a leader throughout your life.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Zippi, for hosting me at the Power Narrative Podcast. It's really a pleasure. Now, this journey started, many years back, and probably I will just talk about my childhood journey.
Yes.
I grew up in a neighborhood in the Sugar Belt.
Uh-huh.
That is Sony Sugar Company Limited. My dad used to work in the company, and so I was born within that environment. I grew up there, and Sony Sugar, that's where I knew to be home, the South Nyanza Sugar Company Limited. My primary school, I went to Sony Sugar Primary School, one of the most prestigious, by the way, at the time and even now. Uh-huh. And it has remained very consistent in producing really high caliber leaders in this country and the globe. From my primary, I proceeded for my high school life. But one of the things that is very interesting is that I was a very naive young boy, very loyal, loyal to the extent that, I never knew how to defend myself or how to argue. You would always place a matter on my something that I even never did, and I would always carry it just for the benefit of, not getting into a controversial situation. And so that was me, and of course I was very likable by the teachers because I was of that loyalty and definitely hard work. I proceeded to my high school in 1998. Uh-huh. And that was Kangeso Boys High School. Uh-huh. Now, how did I get myself to Kangeso? I got an admission to Kanyawanga Boys High School.
Yes.
And at the time I was getting admission to Kanyawanga Boys High School, if I just take a step back, in my primary school, I have a brother, my immediate follower, called Wellington. And so we used to be with him. But we have about a year
age gap.
So he's like my age mate, technically speaking. So while we were in primary school, we had a scenario that my dad insisted that he started school early. And so we moved together in classes. And so when I got admission to Kanyawanga Boys, we both were called to Kanyawanga Boys. And in my mind, I'm not going to share a school with my brother for one simple reason. My brother always thought I was weak and naive. And he would always challenge my authority at every given stage.
So you wanted to grow your own independence?
I wanted my own independence. And I imagined going to Form 1 and your brother is going to see how maybe
you'll be bullied.
You bullied and you're the firstborn. And by the way, I'm the firstborn. in a family of many. I'll talk about that shortly. And so I proceeded. So my dad had one philosophy or one principle. You don't like the school, his business was not to look for a school. His business was to pay fee. So I looked for school. Kangeso was very prime at the time because it was just founded by the late Honorable Dalmas Otieno, who had established the school, and it was a legacy school for him. And that's where I joined. And my leadership journey started there. Yeah. And probably just to bring it out how that leadership journey started. While we were in primary, of course, there is that general aspect of being likable by the teachers, given responsibility. I was class prefect many occasions. So when I went to high school, my dad is one of these very typical traditional, Luo men.
Yes.
And first and foremost, I feared him. We would always call him Simba Wayuda.
We used to call my mother that.
because he was a no-nonsense man. Mzee Abong'o Senior, Walter Abong'o. He was a peacemaker, but a no-nonsense man.
Very strict.
Whenever he came to the family, we would see him laugh around with the people outside, but whenever he came to the family, he was always very strict. So you never wanted to find yourself in an awkward position or in a place where, and anytime there was a case, you would have to prove why or how you're not guilty. For him, he would not start by trusting you, but he would first trust that you must have done something. So just...
Yes, for you to be brought before him.
Exactly. And so when reporting, he was a stickler to procedures, my dad. And he remained. So old age has made him, become a diplomat and soft. Yeah, but one of the things he decided when the calling letter said, I remember it was on the 2nd of January, and the reporting was 8 a.m. Trust you me, Dr. Zippy, we were at the school by 7 a.m.
Are you serious? on your first day of school?
My first day in school. And so I was the first Form 1 to report. I saw it as a problem, and I was like, but having been the first to report, then I got to interact with the deputy principal and many other teachers. And that is how I was appointed as a class. When all the other Form 1s reported, we had a new dormitory that was dedicated for Form 1s. And
so you were the first person in that dorm?
Dorm captain.
In a Form 1?
Yes.
Yes.
And there are many things that would come with it. Definitely you have...
Your leadership journey indeed started so early. Yes.
That's where my leadership journey started. And of course I changed roles in between, all to Form 2, Form 3. Now, while in Form 3, my dad brought problems because... he felt that my performance had started dropping, and he attributed it to
the leadership roles
that were bestowed upon me. And it's a case that he had to come talk to the principal. And for me, I felt, because one of the things I learned in every leadership setup, but then I had to deal, boys.
Yeah.
And me being raised in a Christian family, there are things I could not comprehend. You start experiencing scenarios where boys bring drugs, hard drugs, and they have their way of operating. In fact, I think that's where I started learning this bit of cartels. So they had their way of operation that nobody would be able to trace. So it was a very risky venture. Because on one hand, the expectation from the school leadership was that you are expected to, to report and to stay alert and, single out anything that would happen. But on the other hand, these are your fellow students.
And if you report, you'll be marked.
The teachers would go home during the day, because I remember it's only the principal would stay in school. And it was largely away. So it would be... in school, once in a while, maybe a few days in a week. So you'll be marked. So if you're marked, then you are left with the same boys that you have to deal with. It was very risky. So when this matter came up, I said, Ula, I'm very happy.
Yeah.
And I sided with my dad. So when he came to meet the principal said, no, this young man has brought serious order and is one of the most trusted students in the school. And so we're not letting him go. He has to hack it in his academics, and he also has to hack it.
Are you
in
serious?
leadership. And that's how, and I was a deputy school captain. So I went all the way, the only deputy school captain that was allowed up to Form 4 to hold a leadership position, because the rules of the school was that at Form 4, you relinquish all the leadership positions to Form 3s going down, so that then
so you can focus on exams.
But for me, the school leadership insisted I became a deputy school captain all the way. When the school captain sat for the exam, then I stepped over in the role and I had to take it up. And besides that, I at the same time, I was leading I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, a proud one, with humility. I'm proud of my faith because of the fundamental beliefs that are anchored in there. But I took that opportunity, and again, they bestowed me with the leadership at the time. Yeah. I remember one time we were denied going to church because the late Dalmas was a Catholic. So the school was kind of Catholic sponsored. Yeah. And so I took the bravery one time when Honorable Dalmas came to the school, and I approached him and I said, Mheshimiwa, how on earth would we be denied our right to worship? Yeah. And that was a game changer. And that's how the SD group was allowed. Up to date, we have a very strong presence of the
So you are being allowed to go, or they used to allow a pastor to come and preach to you on Saturday?
We would do both. So we would we would go out to the local church, and the Sabbath we would rotate. We would do a rotational arrangement. So the subsequent Sabbath, we would have somebody from the local congregation to come and preach the pastor, and we would advance there. From there, I then joined campus.
Yes.
And my journey to campus is another very interesting one. And because there's this thing that I've always kept reflecting and thinking about, and that forms my strong belief in the young people and the power of them to make a choice. Because my dad is a lover who teaches. And I always tell him, Mzee, I think you wanted to be a teacher. It's a dream that you never were. And so I decided to, my dad wanted me to go into teaching, and I said no. And remember, I've indicated that my dad was those men whose word
is final.
It's law. You can't go against it. So I really had to, it was difficult, and so my dad insisted I wanted to do IT. So he said no. So there's this one evening that one of his friends comes to the house, and a conversation ensues, and asks me, "You've just finished your campus. So what are you planning to do?" Boom, the opportunity. And I told him, for me, I want to, before I responded, my dad jumped in and said, teaching is a very good profession. In fact, teachers are respected
in the community.
They are movers. They are very sharp, and they pitched for teaching.
Yes.
And he talked and talked and talked, and then at the end of it, then his friend told him, Mzee Walter, you've spoken about teaching.
Let the young man speak.
Let the young man speak. This question was not meant for you. So why are you answering? Let the young man speak. Then I spoke. The young man said, IT is my thing. And, his friend just rose. It's called CPA Ngicho. Yeah. He rose up.
He said, good.
And said, good. That is where the world is going. Technology. And I was like...
You have someone who knows you, who can listen to you now.
We clicked, and Mzee never spoke a word.
Yeah.
From that moment.
I think also from his background, he didn't know this IT is just hearing it. But now this is a man he trusts saying that IT is the future of the world. I think it gave him that affirmation that, it's not so bad after all.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
True. So, but he had obsession about teaching. profession because I remember I had a cousin who was a teacher, and Mzee loved this man. Anytime we went home, he would get all the attention. So anyway, eventually, apparently, quite a number of my siblings ended up being teachers. Though even my brother Wellington went into teaching on his own volition, much as he never went into active practice. So that was my journey then. So I did my IT, JQuat, and that time in partnership with Kenya College of Accountancy at the time. And I graduated with my bachelor's. And upon my graduation, the next round of battle started. Because there was a trend in Sony Sugar where people would always ensure that their children are employed, more so when they were towards retirement. So they would make sure that they have a replacement and their children would be employed. So a vacancy arose at Sony Sugar, and in the IT department, my dad again insisted and
Come
said,
back home.
Come back home. And I remember graduating around November, and the vacancy was announced in December. And Mzee insisted you have to apply. And I said I didn't want to apply.
You didn't want to be at the same place.
Yes. And let me bring at this point, you know, and this is an inspiration to the young people. And, you know, generally people who grow in their career, but particularly young people. It is good to have a mentor. And it is good to believe in something. Because that then shapes how you move and how your journey rolls. Because what changed my perspective was one of our elders called Dr. Gaffner. Dr. Gaffner is a household name at Sony Sugar, those who knew Sony Sugar then. And he used to talk to us as young people, and his philosophy was simple. And I remember one time after finishing college, he asked me, what are your plans? And we had a one-on-one conversation, and he said, I tell him, you know, for me, I'm looking for a job. The first thing he told me, please, make sure usifanye kazi kwa hii moshi. The moshi now is the sugar, the boilers. And so he said, you know, make sure you make to explore. This environment, you can't study here, do everything here, and come back to work. And so he had a point, and he's a man that we really had a deep respect for. And so when he made those statements, I really reflected upon them. And of course, it aligned with what already I had in me. So one of the things I'm advising young people is it's good to have a mentor, somebody who you look up to, somebody who you can believe in, somebody who can walk the journey with you. One of the aspects that has always been unique about me, that I think shaped my leadership trajectory, is since childhood, I would always make friends with people who are older than me. And so, and my way of looking at it was this. Even when I was a young man at Sony Sugar, most of my friends were my dad's colleagues, you know, those who are working. And for sure, some of them were serving as elders in the church. Others were very senior managers in the company and playing different roles. Some were business people. So what was my conviction? I always looked at it and said, if we are age mates, we sit together to tell a story, or I need advice, how would you advise me when we are on the same space? You get the point? You can only advise me if you're a little more experienced, if you are a little more, qualified. Exposed,
qualified,
And, but if we are on the same space, then it becomes very difficult. Yes, you can advise me, but then you can't do that with authority. So that's how I used to look at things. And it also kind of shaped how then I relate. Because I remember when I was fast forward when I got employed at KCA University. The whole aspect was that how my trajectory changed was people always said you're more mature than your age. And
For a man, that's a compliment. For a woman, I don't know.
no, for a woman, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
Sure. So at this point, an advert is placed. I apply. At the time, and I will not mention the year and the names
it's
because
okay.
People can always place this. So an advert was made, and the ICT head at that time was a diploma holder, and I had a bachelor's degree. So I applied, and when I applied, I remember applying for the software engineering portfolio that was laced with some network admin role that the company wanted. And I remember I'd done my internship there. So when I applied, I placed my papers because I didn't want my dad to think that I'm either despising or not serious with this assignment, or rather with an attempt to engage. So I was able to apply. And then guess what? At the shortlisting stage, my papers disappeared. So my certificate was not part of the documentation, so not shortlisted because missing certificate. But
it was a copy of certificate.
Yeah, it was a copy of certificate. So that copy was missing. So it was just the mischief. So somebody pulled it out because
Yes, competition.
I was a threat.
Yes.
And I was happy for me because I never wanted to work at Sony Sugar. So my dad was very upset. He comes back home and says, wait a minute. So my dad was also a friend to the MD at the time. And so he went to the MD and lodged a complaint, says, no, how can this happen? And the MD made a call and my paper appeared. I didn't submit a new one. It appeared. And so the next level, they did another, they didn't get a fit, so a new advert was placed. So my dad insisted again that now
apply again.
To apply. From what I can suspect, he had done his groundwork.
Yeah.
Because the MD was his friend. So I highly suspect that in the process of all that conversation, they must have come to some
agreement,
understanding, not really to favor me, but to ensure that within the system, nothing happens. And once people get to know that the boss knows you, then people become very careful.
Yeah.
So at that time, because I didn't have a choice, so a plan comes. So my intention was to come to Nairobi.
I also always dreamt of just coming to Nairobi.
That was my dream.
Yeah.
So
it's where I think of, if you're a big dreamer, you want a bigger space, Yes.
Yeah, sure. So I get to talk to my dad. And that time I'd already, one of my aunties, actually two of them, one has a home in Karen, and another one was staying in Kibra. So the one in Karen already had spoken even to my dad that I need to go and stay with her over the holidays. And because of the stories I used to hear about Nairobi, I became a little bit cagey. Because sometimes you'd hear, in Nairobi, if they bring you ugali, it's a slice, it's measured. If it is food, it's measured. Sometimes food is locked in the refrigerator, at times. So all those funny stories.
Yeah.
So I was like, do I want to go through this experience? So, but by that time then, lucky enough, both aunties gave me an offer. So I talked to my dad and we agree. I give him a proposal because I knew I was not going to convince him not to apply for the Sony Sugar job again, not to reapply. So I made a proposal and said, Dad, allow me apply. I will apply as you want, but also allow me go to Nairobi. So whichever comes first. If I get a job first, you release me.
Yes.
If this one of yours comes first, he got upset. What do you mean mine? Are you going to work for me? But I said, fine. If this job comes first, then I will take it up. And we had a deal.
Yeah.
So imagine I leave, and when I left for the city, I didn't choose to go to Karen. I chose to go to Kibra.
Yeah. Where ugali would be a better size.
Of course, getting food from Kibra, by the way, was even a problem.
Oh, really?
But the reason I chose Kibra to stay with my auntie, whom I deeply have a deep respect for. She's called Elizabeth, Mom Elizabeth. I have deep respect for her. Right now, she has a beautiful home in Utawala.
Nice.
And so I wanted to get that exposure from the ghetto environment.
Are you serious?
That's how twisted or untwisted my mind was at the time. But talk about leadership. So what did I want to know? I wanted to know the lowest side of life in the city. For what reason? So that whenever I would do anything I would do, because this was my driving force even right from high school, that anytime I went to school, I came from a family, a very humble background. And my grandfather late was a military man who worked for, worked for the colonial government. There was a very forthright man. Yeah, but after spending his time in the military, when he came back home, he found that his resources had been taken away, land, his cows, cattle sold, and he barely came back to nothing. That is after Kenya's independence. And so he came back to some bit of life of frustration. And around that
After
time,
fighting for the country.
After fighting for the country. So around that time, so he went to Tanzania, settled there, but spent about 7 years in Tanzania. Then he decided to come back. So my aunties, the first 3 are born in Tanzania.
Kiswahili is very much in your tongue.
I'm telling you. And then my dad now is the one who was born in Kenya. So part of family is in Tanzania, part of family is here.
And actually, Sony is very close. It's less than 100 kilometers to Tanzania, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's next to
Sirare border.
And it's close by, and that happened. So I find my way to Nairobi based on that agreement with my dad. I had the task of looking for a job because I didn't want to go to Sony Sugar as an employee. So I had to do everything possible. So I would leave very early in the morning. I can tell you, Dr. Zippy, I got to know all the notice boards in town. The most reliable one, the most reliable one was this one, which was at Odeon Plaza. Odeon Plaza, where Pastor Pius Mweru
used to preach.
Yes. That was the most reliable.
If you're there, you either go left or right to your bus and stuff like that. Yes.
And of course, you find job adverts that are legitimate.
Oh, there was a notice board there.
Yes, there was a notice board, a very big one, very long stretch. And so whenever you wanted a legitimate job, you go to Odeon. That was the most reliable notice. But because you're desperate, you have to walk around town.
Yeah.
My money, quite a lot of my fare went, not to ladies, but to these job agencies.
Yes.
You're told, apply, you pay 1,000 shillings, pay 500 shillings. At the time, that was a lot of money.
Yeah, that was a lot of money. So you pay so that they can help you get a job?
Yeah, you pay. They guarantee. In fact, they kind of guarantee you a job. That this for training. You'll be trained for a week, 2 weeks. Then
how to write your CV, how to respond in interviews.
Sure. Once you pay that money,
you don't know them.
They don't know. In fact, you go the next day.
They are not there.
That office is locked. They are not there. Nobody knows.
Oh my God!
So I got quite a bit of that. So they chewed my money twice, and I said never again. So as time went by, I became smarter.
Yeah.
So I had to know how to. So I remember one of these moments. So then in the transition period, I'd worked did some contract for Sony for some short time before I left. So within this process, I dropped my CVs, including to KCA.
Yeah.
KCA University. So one of these early morning calls. By then I would leave Kibra. In fact, those days we used to call it Kibera.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the civilization Kibra.
And they say even right now there's Kibra and Kibera. Yes.
So me, I know the Kibera part.
Yes.
And we would always call it motherland.
Yeah.
My auntie in Karen got upset, but of course I would go visit her once in a while and would interact. But eventually I was able to. So this morning, one of the things I used to do is that I used to wake up early morning, because remember, I was the only graduate in that house, because my cousin, the firstborn to my auntie, at that time was still in was just joining campus. So I would leave early morning when everybody else is going to work. So you can imagine you are left in the house, and then they put aside lunch. So I asked myself, will I be given lunch every day for just sitting in the house doing nothing? So I would always make sure that every day when everybody is leaving house,
you also go.
And I knew the routes all the way to.
But also coming to think of it, Kibera was much closer to town than if you had gone to Karen, because during that time the vehicles to Karen were very few. Yeah.
Precisely. Then it means you'll be asking for fare every other time.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of these mornings, so I would always go to Uhuru Park after doing my rounds in town, dropping my CV. And my auntie was working with the ministry, and she was at the National Treasury. She was a support staff at the National Treasury at the time. So one of the things that she would always do for me is she would get my papers and go photocopy for me and bring me. But in the meantime, Mzee would always send me every month money for photocopying papers.
Yes.
So I
could save that one.
Save some money.
Yeah.
So whenever I didn't get anything, I would go to Uhuru Park. That's why I really loved the old model Uhuru Park. You find people lying on the grass. Please don't think those people are crazy. Those people are going through something, and they're just trying to also build their career and make ends meet. So I would like that. So one morning I get a call from KCA University, and the head of human resource management at the time, called HR, calls me. I remember she's Madam Misoi. Madam Misoi calls me, and the first question is, "This Rodgers?" And I said, "Yes, this is Rodgers." And then she says, "I'm Caroline Misoi calling you from KCA University. Did you drop your CV with us?" And I said, "Yes, I couldn't even remember because I dropped so many."
Yeah.
But because, you're looking for a job, you
just
have to
say
first
yes.
confirm. So I said yes. And then the next thing she asked, "Could you be around town?" I said yes. And she asked whether I would manage to get to campus in an hour's time. And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I boarded a matatu. I would leave the house dressed. And by then,
you would leave the house dressed for work.
Dressed for work. In my later life, students would always call me Yule Jama Masuti.
But I can't remember also not seeing you in a suit. When you're not wearing a suit, you're wearing an impeccable African shirt. So,
so I would always dress for work and carry my documents. I would walk around with my...
You were ready.
I was ready. So when I got this call an hour and jump into a matatu within 30 minutes, I found my way to the university, and I go to HR and I meet Caroline Misoi, and she interrogates me casually and then asks, "Where were you?" And I said, "No, I was just, apparently you called when I was not far from town. I was just around town."
Yeah.
And she interrogated me and then told me, "What you do tomorrow at 8, come for the interview." So I went home, and as usual, said my prayers, told family members, "Please pray for me." So I come that following morning. I find 3 people in our office. One of them I remember is the late Matende. Matende was the head of ICT at the university. And of course, Madam Caroline Misoi herself. And then I found another gentleman who was also working in the School of Technology. And so they started asking me, we just had a casual conversation. So after 30 minutes, they told me the interview is over.
Yes.
I
We'll
was
communicate.
waiting to find a panel.
Yeah.
And this was an interaction. So the interview is over. And then Misoi tells me, congratulations, you have a job.
Wow.
That is how I got hired.
Prayers answered and Sony Sugar bye.
So the sugar bye. Prayers answered.
How did your father receive the news?
Oh, my dad was, of course he was happy.
He was happy, yes.
Yeah, he was happy that I got a job. And because we had a deal, he's also a gentleman. So he honored his part of the agreement.
He's like, it's
I
okay.
wish you well. My son,
Gave you his blessings.
And he prayed, he gave me his blessings. And, in fact, even I remember the next thing he did, he sent me money. And that
now
weekend,
to start.
I had to travel to the village.
So that they pray for you well, properly.
Pastors, they prayed. And he gave me his blessings and told me, my son, you go and do that.
That's one thing that maybe the current generation really doesn't understand, especially for millennials and people in the Gen Xs. Like when we get something, we want to go back home, it gets blessed. You get a new car, let me go back home for prayers. A new job promotion, let me go back home for prayers. But I think for the millennials, especially who grew up in the village, it's ingrained in us. We just want that blessing, Yeah,
it's true. You want it's engraved in us. And so for me, some of the fundamental learnings up to that point of my career, where now my career started, was that you still can be able to achieve whatever you want without drama.
And you have really grown at KCA. I don't know. Okay, of course, you've just not been in our department, but Rodgers, you have grown in almost every strategic department at KCA, and in every sector that you have been pushed, we can see results. Tell us about your journey. Once you entered, maybe at least telling us where did they post you to and what are the things that happened there?
Yeah, so when by then I got employed at 24.
Congratulations. Can we ask you how much was your starting salary?
My starting salary, and I have no problem saying my starting salary was 18,000 shillings.
That was really good.
Yeah.
That was really good.
18,000 Kenya shillings.
Which year was that?
Actually, it was 16,000 plus I think I was given some transport
allowance. Yes.
Yeah.
And that one means you are not eligible for tax.
23rd of November 2008.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
you started well.
Yeah, that's the day.
There are people who are starting with 5,000 per month.
But at least I would say that I started well. Yeah. And that's the same month I moved. I decided to move. I said I need to be a man of my own.
So you moved to same Kibera?
No, I moved to Kahawa Wendani.
Oh, because it was now closer to work.
It was closer to work. And, of course, having gone through the Kibera experience, the Kibera real experience, when I see comedians talk about flying toilets, talking about, you hang your clothes, you sneak through the other door, go pick that clothes.
You fry water, so the neighbor thinks you're cooking.
Yes.
So
I witnessed all that journey. And of course, when you think back home, it doesn't give you much room to either bolt out or something. So I moved to Kahawa Wendani. My very first ever place of abode was a single room.
Yeah.
I only bought a small mattress, the smallest in size. These ones we used to carry, to high school.
Yeah. And I think the next question is, did you buy a stove or gas?
Actually, my priority was a mattress.
A mattress.
A mattress and a blanket.
And
now,
a blanket.
Those two are my priorities. How to eat? By there, I took milk and bread for a while. Because I had a very good boss. When I reported to the faculty, Dr. Alice Njuguna, now Professor Alice Njuguna, who is the DVC in charge of academic and enrollment at Zitec University, was my boss, and was a very wonderful boss. Actually, I owe quite a lot of my growth to her leadership. And so I would come to the office, she would make sure that I have tea.
Wow.
And I have escort. So I would take breakfast at work.
At work, yes.
I would take lunch at work.
Oh, there was lunch at work?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would then leave.
Then you are going home full.
I'm going home. So then we had 4 o'clock tea.
Are you serious?
Yes, we had 4 o'clock tea. So I would only go and take bread and milk. So I stayed for quite a while without a stove or anything until I started dating.
I think that's a good motivation.
It took my girlfriend to realize that something is not right here.
Oh my!
Yeah, so that's how my career journey started. So I was hired as an examination officer at the School of Technology, and so that's where I started growing. I met wonderful people in that school who held my hand. One of the striking things is that when I got hired, I was told that somebody had gone for leave. That's what HR had communicated.
So you were just sitting in?
Just sitting in for 3 months. After 3 months, the owner of the office was to come back and take over. And that's the communication I got. When I went to the ground, vitu kwa ground zilikuwa different.
So how did you transition now to being a director? Which one came first? Dean of Students or being director at Kisumu campus? Which one?
Dean of Students. So of course, after joining as examinations officer, I worked there. One of the things I'm proud of is I'm always very inspired by establishing new things, entering uncharted waters, starting off things, just seeing a change. So when I was the founding examinations officer, by the way, in that school, nobody had gone for leave, so that was just a way of telling me, testing whether I was capable of doing the work. So I did the work very well. For the very first time, results were released before a new semester started. At that time, we were using Excel.
Yes.
So there was no system. It was Excel, get marks from lecturers, consolidate manually, and generate a pass list. So I did quite a bit of that. And I performed very well until my first appraisal. I got outstanding. I got an outstanding score.
Wow.
And the VC at the time, I
wanted to know who is this.
Vice Chancellor, Professor Daniel Musungu Orwach, a gentleman. Again, talking about mentors, he's a man I looked up to because I loved his leadership style. He had an aura of power. He kind of, anytime he entered the room, it would leave no doubt of who the leader is. But most importantly, he was a very strict, straightforward man. And so he declined my appraisal and summoned my supervisor. So Dr. Njuguna had to go explaining why I scored outstanding in my first 3 months of engagement. And so I was taken back for probation. And I was given another 6 months. He wrote there, please, further probation for another 6 months. So after the 6 months, now I score satisfactory high. And then I got confirmed. So he walked to my office on the date of my confirmation. And at the time, I didn't know how he operates, how he behaves. So he found me in the office. and I was sitting, and I didn't know this was. I didn't know it
You
was.
don't know, this is the big man.
This is the big man. So, and he liked pocketing. So he stood there. Says, young man, why are you seated when I'm standing? That was the introduction.
Yeah.
And I was like,
There are seats.
I rose,
Yeah.
and I could see everybody around panicking. And eventually then I was able to, he was a very kind man. So he told me, I returned your appraisal. And I know you're wondering, if you're given outstanding on your first 3 months, and we want you to grow, so what is going to be your next appraisal? If you score outstanding, then there's no growth. So that's why I had to return your appraisal. But I appreciate the good work you do. So after that, I then, fast forward, I did that work. Then in 2010, the year I did a wedding.
Yeah, congratulations.
2011, I decided to enroll for my master's. And so I enrolled for master's MSc Data Comms at KCA University. And because I was handling exam, I knew that this is, because of course I was
going to be a conflict of interest.
I was going to be a conflict of interest. So I wrote to the DVC in charge of academic affairs at the time and requested to be moved. And that's how I got moved. Now, my movement also became a bit dramatic. Because I had two bosses. Of course, I had the Dean School of Business at the time, Professor Onyango, wanted me to go to the School of Business. And he wanted me to be a manager at the School of Business. He had talked to me, and for me, I felt excited. A young man now being, given a managerial role. I was happy. And then, boom, the surprise came. I reported there, by the way, for a month. I worked there for a month, without a letter, though. And then when the letter came, I was told you're going to Student Affairs. A new directorate was created called EMSA, Enrollment, Management, and Student Affairs. So you're going there as who? You're going there as a coordinator. One thing I will mention at this point, that my biggest support system in my career journey is my dad. He's my consultant number one, a retired career civil servant. So anytime I faced work-related challenges, I would give him a call. So I called him, and he asked me who made the decision. So only to realize that my boss, name withheld, the one who became my boss, had gone and pitched that he wanted me in his department. And that is how, and so you see, Professor Nyango had spoken to the VC. I didn't even know. At this time, there was transition, by the way. In 2010, that's when the second VC, Professor Noah Midamba, joined the university. So when it was new, so that's when I think Professor Nyango had gone, talked to him, because Professor Nyango came from Strathmore University. And then my former boss talked to the DVC in charge of academic and student affairs, the late Professor Rosemary Maina. And the lady was very powerful. She became my best of friend. And so I got a letter from her saying, report to student affairs. So I reported. When I went there, nobody knew what I was supposed to do. So I was told, you are coordinator, sit here, handle inquiries. And I said, this is not my gift. I'm not a marketer.
And you don't know just how to see it.
So I spoke to my supervisor. He was a kind man. He was good. So he listened. Then he gave me a challenge. He says, you check what you can do around. You check, angalia uniambie, what is it that you want to do? So I checked around. Then I realized we didn't have an office for career services.
And you created?
I created one called Career Planning and Placement Office, which is now our center. So I was the founding coordinator
of the Career Planning and Placement. Congratulations, because it's really doing well, especially in terms of even placing not just those who've graduated, but even internships and all that. So
I did that work, and during that time, that's where now my true efforts really short.
Yeah.
I used to organize events, career workshops, clinics. I would invite parents to come. I did quite a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I was working under the Dean of Students.
And now you see you were still marketing indirectly.
Precisely. I was marketing indirectly.
Yeah.
And so that was the second year. The third year, a situation again arose.
Yeah.
Where the deputy dean of students, we had a dean of students and deputy dean. The deputy dean had written and requested to be taken to the faculty, and of course, for the dean of students also had requested to go focus on a PhD. Was my boss, and I remember every time we would have interactions, the deputy dean of students would always tell me, hey, you are too good. All the work is being loaded on you.
And you're doing it.
The boss sometimes is away and just loads and you do the work.
Yeah.
So
I want us to rush so that I want you to tell us about the KCA Foundation. I can see my people alerting me. Okay. Yeah. But so tell us how you got to the foundation bit, because I have how many minutes? 15 minutes. Yes, but I need to know how you got to this level of being the founding secretary general, because this is really big. Yes. How did you get here?
So 2011, when I left, I joined Student Affairs. Then I got appointed based on now changes in the directorate that happened. So I got appointed the youngest dean of students. I became a dean of students at the age of 27. The youngest in the country.
Wow.
And
that means you're a dean of students to your age mates.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And I remember colleagues would always call me young man.
Yeah.
So I became the youngest dean of the students in the entire country. So in 2015, when I took over, of course, many things happened, a lot of transformation that I brought in by virtue of the things I would see, because I would understand the plight of these young people. Yeah. And so one of the things I realized, one day student leaders walk into my office as a dean of students and they tell me, Dean, you need to do this because MKU, in fact, they have given their student leaders hostel for free. They are being given meals for free. They are being paid a very hefty allowance. University of Nairobi, they are also doing this, hostel for free, good allowance. So they gave me a very serious picture.
Yes.
And many of these things kept coming, and they would push for the allowances, increase our allowances and stuff like that. And then I realized, these young people are telling me about other universities.
Yeah.
Can I look for the contacts of these deans? So I
and talk to them.
The MKU, UON. They tell me, my friend, it's not true. They give me the true picture.
Are you serious?
Yes. And then I realized that student leaders had a caucus. They were comparing notes. So I said, if student leaders are comparing notes,
why can't the deans of students also compare notes?
That's how KUDSA was born. I assembled all the deans of students and, with my fellow deans, Dean Mohammed, who is currently the chairman of KUDSA, and then, of course, Mark Rachwonyo, the CEO and principal of Utalii College, was the dean of students at MKU at the time. So we really pushed Dean Olela of Maseno, who was the dean of students at Maseno University at the time. So we came together and pieced together and mobilized deans. We went to Nakuru.
Yeah.
Nakuru Declaration 1 in 2015. Then we did MKU Declaration 2 in 2016, February. Then around August, we did St. Paul's University.
And it has really grown.
Yes, the ultimate declaration. That's where now we did the constitution. Yeah. We registered the association. And the dean said, again, being the youngest, so the dean said, no, you've run with this thing. So they elected me as the Secretary General, which I served up to 2018. When my tenure as a dean of students ended. So I got promoted to be a principal in 2018, because when an advert was made...
That is principal of...
For Western Campus.
Western Campus.
Kisumu.
Yeah.
Campus of the university. So when an advert was made at that time, I'd done 7 years as a dean of students.
Wow.
And I felt,
that is 2 full terms.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I felt, I think I've done enough. Mm-hmm. It was my time to leave. Where I was going, I had, and I remember I'd made a decision that the year that followed, I was not going to be in the
You needed a change.
I needed a change. Because I was also the longest serving dean in the university. At the time, the one who served the longest had done 4 years.
Yeah.
So even now it's on record, I was the longest serving. So I felt I needed now to give way. Yeah. So an opportunity arises. So an advert is made for principal, Western Campus, and I apply.
Yeah.
So I topped the interview, and I was given the responsibility. I remember part of the challenge that the campus was facing was visibility and stability. So I applied, and that's how I got that promotion. And I did.
And you gave it life.
During my tenure,
yes.
I made sure that I consolidated the regional leadership. All the governors, Governor Nyong'o was is a friend to date. I would always engage and reach out to them. So fast forward again, around 2021 towards November.
Yeah.
Because we had a transition, so we had our current Vice Chancellor, Professor Kindiki, had just come in and, came to campus. We did a very nice reception for him at the Western Campus. But my mind already had started, thinking, because I'd left my family in Nairobi. So I needed to get back. But one of the striking experiences that, for me, changed the whole thing was the loss of my daughter. So I lost my last born daughter then, my third born, October of 2021. Mm-hmm. So after that incident, I felt it was time to
come back
to Nairobi. Yeah. So when the VC discussed with me and we had those conversations, then he accepted, and he said, it's important that you come back to Nairobi. So when I came, again an advert was placed around that same time, and then for the foundation was being established, and I applied. Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Again, a founding member. A founding leader in that
yes,
docket.
The founding executive director for the great foundation.
You have done a lot with the KCAU Foundation, so far. Maybe you can tell us more about that and your vision for that.
Yeah, so I've done a lot with the KCA University Foundation and laying the structures, working closely with my Vice Chancellor and CEO, Professor Isaiah Wakindiki, a man I deeply, deeply, deeply respect, a man I adore because of his style of leadership and the opportunity granted. So we've been able to put together infrastructure or support system, a framework that allows us to do, massive resource mobilization in terms of putting together our efforts. So we've been able to work with so many partners, and notably Chandaria was able to establish Chandaria Business Innovation and Incubation Center on our multi-level academics complex that is coming up. So we mobilize funds also. We've supported so many students who have gone through for scholarships. We have held so many activities, VC and CEO cycling tour that happens every year. This year we are doing the 4th edition. We've done the 1st, 2nd, and the 3rd editions. 1st edition, we went around Mount Kenya, 517 kilometers. 2nd edition, we went to western part of the country, 1,002 kilometers. 3rd edition, we went to Arusha, Tanzania, through Moshi. We did around 687 kilometers. And so we do all this, but also we engage philanthropic partners and corporate partners in our quest just to change lives of young people. So what inspires me is seeing young people grow. When I see young people get that level of support, it gives me great inspiration.
Maybe this is the opportunity, maybe to clarify, because sometimes people reach out to my inbox, I'd like to come to KCA, are there scholarships? And sometimes I'm like, you have to be a student to get the scholarship. Maybe you can tell us the different types of scholarships that you have at the foundation.
Yeah, so we have different types of scholarships at the foundation, and one of it is what we call the foundation scholarship. I mean, all these scholarships are open for students of KCA. So the first condition, you have to first enroll, because you must show interest. You're not just coming to KCA because of the scholarship.
Scholarship, yes.
You must first
want to be at
clear
KCA.
that KCA University is your university of choice. So once that is clear, then of course you've secured a course or a program, then now you can be able to apply. So we have the foundation scholarship that is open to it's needy and deserving students, but from diverse background. We have another scholarship called Teke la Mwisho Scholarship that is an anchor scholarship by a family called the Browns from the US, and our Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Academic and Student Affairs, Professor Joshua Bagakas, who then jointly have established a fund, and which then supports students who are on their final year of study and are on the verge of dropping out. And so it's just as the name suggests, Teke la Mwisho, it gives you the final
push,
final push, so that then you graduate. And it has saved and helped so many careers, those who are on the verge of dropping out. Either an incident happened, you're just okay, you lose a parent, or your parent loses a job, an incident happens. And then, of course, we also have a partnership with Tuendele Foundation, where we are doing a co-50-50 sponsorship. So if you're on Tuendele scholarship, then you have more opportunities, even for internship and stuff like that. Then we have the VC and CEO scholarship. That is for students who are able to demonstrate outstanding innovation.
And talent.
And then, of course, we have what we call talent scholarship. So those are the kind of scholarships that we have. And and I say a multi-level academic complex is coming up, which we're really aggressively mobilizing resources for.
To be launched on 27th of September 2027.
The year of our Lord.
So thank you, Rodgers. You're doing a lot in changing lives through the foundation, because sometimes people start their studies and they don't know what can happen that can affect their parents or the support they take in paying their school fees. So this really helps a lot, considering that KC University is a private university. So thank you so much about that. Now, before we close the show, I'd like you to pick one of these and then tell us what you feel touched or inspired. Yes, there's family, fun, life, money, friends, love, God. Just one.
Just one.
Just pick just one.
I'll pick family.
I don't know why I had a feeling you'd pick that.
I'll pick family.
Yes.
So you want me to tell you something about...
You can tell us anything, even a story or a reflection, yes.
So one of the things that inspires me, and out of all the entire journey I've spoken about, at the center of it has been family. And of course, I'm married to one female wife. One female wife. She's called Georgina. She's a lady that...
my daughter is called Georgia. Almost,
So you see, no wonder there is always chemistry.
Yes.
So Georgina is the love of my life. She's... we got married on 12th December 2010. And we did our wedding, and life has been good. Of course, the normal journey and cycle that people go through, but she's been my anchor. And I'm proud of my family. I'm a father of 3 girls. I'm a father of girls. I'm proud of those girls. Benita, Princess, And the last born, not acting, but the last born, we call her Professor.
A professor.
Professor Afia. So they've been an anchor and a pillar. They give me the zeal, the motivation. You know, this work that we do, again, a message to the young people, because young people don't want to settle down. But you know, sometimes after the day-long obligations, or you've done you've dealt with the issues of work, you go home. When you go to church, you leave from home. For you to be useful in service. I serve as a head elder of our church, Kaoskari SDA Church, and also district coordinator for Kahawa District. And I've played quite a couple of roles in church. But bottom line is, if there is no peace at home, then for sure
there can be no peace anywhere.
Cannot be peace anywhere. But of course, this is also extended to larger families. That's why I picked family, because I'm the firstborn in our family. And my wife is also the firstborn in their family. So I have an obligation to make sure that family grows. And one of the people, I'm proud of my parents, my mom, Mary, my dad, Walter. I'm so proud of them because they showed us the ways of God. They made sure they pointed us to the church and the support system, the sacrifice they have made, the journey they have walked. And my siblings, I have, 6 sisters. Our last born sister in our house just did our wedding about 3 weeks ago. And a very colorful wedding in Oyugis. So I'm always proud and I love my siblings. My brother, we're only 2 boys in our house, I come from a polygamous family. My dad has 2 houses. I'm proud of the fact that, he made his choices and he has run the family very well. And I learned quite a bit from him in terms of peace building and making sure that you work together with people. So even you may not know in our family, you'll not know this is my stepbrother, my stepsister. But in our house, my immediate follower is Wellington, a gentleman that I always adore because he's always a support system at every given time. So family has been everything to me in this journey. Sometimes when things get hot, things get tough, things get difficult.
You have a family to fall back on.
And so what I want to encourage people also, even those who are in advanced levels of their career, please ensure there is peace at home. Because if there is no peace at home, for sure, you will make blunders, you will keep quarreling with people in the office.
That's true.
We'll keep fighting with everybody. So if you make a deliberate choice to settle down, then make that environment a haven. And not only in your own immediate family, but even the larger family. So ensure as siblings, you all reading from the same script, that you're all moving towards the same agenda, that you also know that the vision career in a family is always the parents, and support their cause when you have them, support them, walk that journey with them. So they have been my anchor, my advice, my source of strength as I move. And as I close is all that I have said, God has been at the center. My career growth, I attribute it to God, because every step I've made, every promotion I've gotten, I've been in spaces where people think that this man is favored. But I always say yes.
But you're favored of God.
So when people ask, what's your secret?
No, it's favor also. So if they say you're favored, it's okay. It's okay. It's good to be favored. Yes, I always say I'm blessed and highly favored. So thank you so much. Any final word you want to say before we close the show?
My final word to those who are following this the Power Narrative podcast is that the career journey, 1, must be deliberate. Number 2, 1 must be disciplined, and number 3, commitment is a must. And you at all times, golden rule, and this is to the young people, you must know who the boss is.
Very important.
You must know who the boss is. Please don't assume a role that is not yours.
Yeah.
And so there are so many dynamics that happen at the workplace.
Yeah.
But then you have to know, and patience. Young people sometimes we call it microwave generation. You want to press a button and everything comes. So you have to build it over time, because one block will lie on the other.
True.
You place one block upon the other, and eventually then you have a very firm and solid foundation. So I want to encourage young people out there. It's possible to be a CEO. It's possible to grow. And by the way, I was just honored by our Vice Chancellor and CEO.
Yes.
That's why I have come with a badge.
Oh, what is it?
Of the Alumni Association of KCA University, which is a mentor, as an executive mentor.
Wow, congratulations.
So this was for alumni CEOs.
Yeah.
So, and I was honored by the VC among many of my colleagues.
Yes.
So you can only get to these levels
through discipline.
Through discipline.
Thank you so much, Rodgers, for honoring our show with your presence. And to my people, we just want to say thank you for keeping it here throughout this show. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel on the Power Narrative Podcast. Follow us on all our social media pages, and keep it here on the Power Narrative Podcast by Dr. Zipiokoth. And until next time, bye-bye.